ask why I'm in a field of cars, but I'm not. I'm at the Kent Ploughing match.
Well, it doesn't look at the moment, but the weather on this day was really rainy on and off. It wasn't that pleasant. Scattered bits of sunshine was creeping through, but all in all, it was pretty poor. There was plenty going on. The Kent Ploughing match is normally quite busy. Normally the collection of old tractors. On the other fields that you can see in the distance there's the more modern tractors. They get to start a bit later, and I believe they're against the clock as well. So I'm not familiar with the rules of the ploughing match, the competition rules, but I think it basically goes to how neat and how well turned your furrow is. So the old tractors, they just go all and out to try and get a perfect furrow. Bit of a strange sport, but whatever you're into, I guess. There was quite a few of these old Fordson tractors kicking about, and grey Fergies. There was a fair few of them. You might get a shot of down the field to what is to our right in a minute, and there's a good half dozen of them kicking about, at least, maybe even more than that. Now, I'm not really into the vintage tractor stuff, but it's worth a day. If the weather's nice, it's definitely worth a day. There's far more to see than just the ploughing. Lots of exhibitions, lots of country activities going on. Unfortunately, I just got absolutely soaked to the skin in a downpour of rain, and basically everyone headed for the shelter, which really would have been absolutely packed, so I wasn't too fussed and went home. So this is in fact just a glimpse of what was there. Again, you can see this one's got a bit of a wobble in the furrow. Some of them are absolutely just dead straight. How you judge them, I really don't know. The volume's down, by the way, because the wind noise on my video camera was horrendous. One of the things I've got to look into doing something about. There seems to be a bit of a re-insurgence of, if that's the correct word, of vintage tractor ploughing. At one point it was getting a bit dismal, if I remember. But there seems to be loads of stuff coming out of the woodwork. I think people are just starting to use it as a bit of a hobby, an old tractor, and get themselves a plough and off they go. I had a particular interest in the old Caterpillar here, and the other tracked one was a Fiat of some description or other. Primarily because I've got some bulldozers myself, so the little Caterpillar I think might be a D2. Like I say, the weather hadn't been that great up to this morning, and I know I actually woke up to heavy downfalls of rain early on in the day. It really wasn't that pleasant. It's left the ground quite soft on top surface and reasonably dry underneath the surface after about 3 or 4 inches, because we'd had quite a long spell of dry weather up until like 2 days ago. So yeah, I think it was playing a little bit havoc with the little old vintage tractors. You see some of them spinning wheels quite happily. The big modern tractors really didn't make much difference to them. think this is an old Massey. It looks like it's been restored. It looks like it's in decent condition. I didn't get a chance to see it, but right up the end to the left of the field there was actually some steam ploughing going on. I missed out on getting up there because it turned really nasty and absolutely downpour, as you'll see towards the end of this video. Here's the little caterpillar again. So definitely no problem with his traction abilities. Intent on keeping a straight line. Just about there's people paying attention because he can't see what's in front of him. This is the Fiat that I was talking about. It's looking like 60s, 70s maybe. Never seen one like it before, so where they'd picked that up from, I don't know. See, that was making short work of that ground. Easy ploughing. Yeah, this little Fordson quite happily steaming away. The guy on the tractor wasn't particularly bothered about it either. But I think this one actually, you see the traction brake. Got no idea whether I actually got diff lock or not, but he manages to get it moving again, so these are wartime tractors. So, been around a few years. There we go. That little furrow marking the start, just enough to break its traction. You can see the steam piling out in front of it. And that water on the lens isn't from the tractor steam, by the way, it is just the fact that it's starting to rain. And you can see, I don't know what he does, but quite happily crawls out of that furrow again, whether he's just chose a lower gear or whether he used a diff lock. Some of the larger piece of equipment in the background there. Horses, 3 sets of horses, not seen that before at the ploughing match. I've seen maybe 1, 2, but there was 3 sets of horses in action. Now, not that I'm a particularly horsey person, but I think the shire horse is just a majestic animal. And to think that 2 shire horses and a single furrow plough. You'll see a little later on that the replacement, effectively, of the horses They definitely not quite as beautiful in motion though. The modern tractors are putting 6, maybe 8 furrows, and they're large ploughs too. They're not not small like the horses are pulling, or these little things to be fair. And these are doing 1 or 2 furrows, but say quite a small plough compared with the modern tractors. This little grey Fergie seems to be doing alright. Nice set of weights on the back there. But you can see the soil damp on the top, and it's turning it over and it's dry. 2 days of really heavy rain really hadn't done much to moisten the soil below. But they sure had made it slippy on top. The little grey Fergies had the advantage of a hydraulic 3-point linkage, where some of the tractors here have got no 3-point linkage at all. It's just a drag plough, mechanical lift. Looks like you might have some hefty old wheel weights on there as well, actually. The horse is waiting to get going, and as you can see there, the replacements for the horses mechanical mule, I suppose you might call these, thinking about it. But definitely not quite as majestic in work, and they were struggling. They really were struggling with the soil conditions. The horses really bothered. They were charging away. I think they just want to get going and do some work. There's a set coming down from the right. They're only pulling a single furrow plough. I don't really know how much or how deep they could have originally pulled when these horses were working hard in the farms years ago. Spinning round and the horses are practically walking sideways. Interesting to see on its own. It was interesting to also note there really wasn't a lot of need for him to be pulling on any of the guide ropes. The horses pretty much just listened to what he had to say. I was talking to one guide. He was saying that he used to work with a set of horses many years ago, and he could just tell the horse to step into the furrow and he would do it without any other guidance. And you can hear that wind. The wind was horrendous. I guess what makes it worse is I'm filming into the wind as well, so that's not helping what. You can see the speed of the horses just trot away. I say trot, they're just a fast walking pace. But when you compare that to the mechanical mules, the horses are far quicker. Starting to get towards the point where I was going to call it a day. By this point I think I was always pretty wet, and you can see what looks like a mist. It's not, it's rain. It's not very clear on the film really, but it is actually raining quite nastily. This old boy was having some trouble with his mechanical mule. He was having to shove it and basically giving it grief. It kept getting stuck. And I think I've got a bit of film just here actually. It gets stuck at the end, but he manages a quick jolt and off it goes again. But I think by that point I think he'd had enough, and I don't blame him, to be fair. There we go. It's just like, oh, what? Go on. And that was pretty much the end of my day. I hadn't really gone round any of the other stalls or anything like that. So there's loads of displays and country exhibitions, bits and pieces. Lots to go and see and do. But for me, I was soaked to the skin, and it was like, I'm going to call it a day. And that's where you can see the rain now starting to really pour down. The black shire horses, I think he'd called it a day. Off he went. And just a quick photograph of my legs, absolutely soaked, and me looking rather sorry for myself. So anyway, just a little glimpse into a strange pastime for some, but enjoyable nonetheless. Worth a visit if the weather's really good. Thanks for your time. Subscribe and maybe have a look at some of the other videos I've got. Ta-ra for now.